The 2017 Wonder Woman movie is fundamentally flawed. The character makes choices without a clear reason, the plot twists come out of nowhere in an attempt to be clever, and it reduces one of history's tragic events into nothing more than the war happened because of one guy, and once that guy was killed, the war ended. Before I begin the review, I will be giving some context for the movie. If you don't need it, you can always skip ahead using the timestamp I put in the description. Welcome to part 4 of my DCEU Movies Reviews miniseries, where, as the title suggests, I give my opinions on all 15 DCEU movies. I cover each movie in its own episode. At the end, there will be a 16th episode where I rank them. There's not much context to give for this one, at least not much that I'm aware of. Zack Snyder was still working on his Justice League movie at the time, that was set to release in 2018. DC decided to fill the gap between that and Batman v Superman by releasing a Wonder Woman movie. This movie is about, well, as the title suggests, the adventures of Wonder Woman, but it's during World War I and why she left her home with Themyscira to fight evil for all of humanity. At least that's what she attempts. She joined the war because she wanted to kill Ares, the Greek master of war. As always, I'll talk about the positives first, so let's get this over with. The story sequence at the beginning of the movie looks visually nice. I like the slow movement, as if the pictures are actually moving. I like how Diana scolded the men in suits for not helping in the war. I also like how she wanted to help people when Steve Trevor was taking her to no man's land. After a quick monologue from Diana in the present day, the actual movie starts off with young Diana running away from school and showing deep interest in being trained, even mimicking some of the moves. Her mother, Hippolyta, is against training her because she doesn't want Diana to fight Ares, even though they explained in the movie that Ares is set to return someday. So why make your daughter unprepared to fight Ares if that's what she's meant to do, and she's very enthusiastic about being trained? Even the general thinks that Diana should be at least trained to defend herself in case of an invasion, and yet the queen still doesn't want her to learn. But in my opinion, if you love Diana as much as you claim, you'd at least teach her how to defend herself. Later, Hippolyta tells a story to Diana about how Ares became envious of humanity. They don't explain why he was envious, though. Ares corrupts humanity and causes war among them. The Amazonians were sent to make peace among the humans. Then they laid a revolution against humanity because they became enslaved. Ares didn't like that they're at war, despite his whole thing is to create war, but whatever. Issue with this scene is kind of an extension of the point I mentioned earlier. In the story, she says that Zeus warned that Ares is set to return one day, no matter what, which also makes it weird that she was so against having Diana being trained to defend herself, since Zeus was apparently the one who made the island of Themyscira and the one who left Diana to be trained to fight against Ares should the day come. In my opinion, that just makes Hippolyta a worse mother and leader. Next, we cut to a time skip when older Diana is being trained by the general and they get caught by Hippolyta. Hippolyta scolds the general, which then the general counters the argument by pointing out that the queen was neglecting her duty by not allowing Diana to train, and that Ares will one day return, and training her is the best. The queen somehow agrees about this. It was that simple. I don't know why she accepted it now, since it's clear this isn't the first time they talked about this. And the general only brought up basic points in the argument, which I assume would have been brought up before. So why did Hippolyta be convinced now instead of the arguments that were taken before? Steve tells the Amazonians about the war, and Danny thinks that Ares is behind it. When Hippolyta said it's not their problem, she decided to sneak out. That's the reason why Diana wants to fight, not because of the catastrophe, not because millions are dying, but because Ares might be behind this. Diana and Steve arrive in London. Steve takes her to a clothes store where they can have Diana try on different outfits to conceal her identity, only for her to walk out with a sword and shield. Was Diana not aware why she was trying on all those outfits? I'm pretty sure if she felt like they were wasting her time, she wouldn't have gone along with it. So, why include this scene? Diana isn't the sort of person who would just accept her time being wasted like this. The middle of the movie is pretty decent. It's towards the end that has the most issues for me. Diana believes she killed Ares, but when she sees that humans are still fighting, she gets upset and refuses to help the fight, justifying it by saying they're all bad. This is Wonder Woman, the person who is supposed to help guide humanity with truth and love. And yet this movie portrays her as a woman that thinks humanity deserves what's coming to them, since not all humans are good and that they do bad things. Are you kidding me? This is one of the basic aspects of Wonder Woman, and this movie somehow got it wrong. And the movie still somehow managed to miss the point entirely. The twist reveal is that the English guy that helped them in the beginning of the movie turned out to be Ares, which honestly doesn't really land for me. It feels like a cheap plot twist. The problem with this is that when Diana actually kills Ares, the war stops. Like, I'm sorry, what? You're telling me that the atrocity of the First World War suddenly stopped because Ares was killed? That kind of defeats the message that it doesn't have to be just one guy behind everything. Sometimes it's just a bunch of bad people doing bad things. Not to mention that this diminishes the catastrophe of the First World War. The movie ends with Diana leaping towards the camera, probably hiding from the world and letting World War II happen. I'm not kidding. In the end of Batman v Superman, Diana admitted that she walked away from humanity for 100 years, letting atrocities happen. Atrocities like World War II, the genocide in Palestine, the Bosnian genocide, the atrocities in Congo, Libya, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Syria, Iraq, Kuwait, and so many more. All of this happened because she decided that humans are no longer worth protecting. Was this movie written by Tom King? This also brings up the question, how did all of this happen if Ares is dead? Which then makes the movie right about the problem being with humans and not Ares being the reason for war after the movie disproved itself that Ares was behind the war, and at the same time the wars continued despite Ares not being. What is this mess? This movie doesn't know what it wants, and it's a shame that a Wonder Woman movie is of this quality. Wonder Woman deserves better than this. She deserves way better than this. Look, man, I just don't like this movie at all. I gave it a 1-star rating on Letterboxd. Tell me what you think about this movie in the comments, if you agree or disagree with my thoughts. Next, the DCEU movie review will be about Justice League, the theatrical cut version to be precise. So, subscribe to see it when it comes out. If you want to see part 1 of this DCEU mini-series thing I'm working on, you can click the playlist right here. So start with Man of Steel. And yeah, that's all I have to say for today. I'm glad this is over. Goodbye.